alter one kite. I'm already into the 420, damn it.
Legacy 420 has medicinal and recreational products down to a science, literally. With 2 biochemists on staff and a chief scientific advisor, every product is tested in the Legacy 420 laboratory. Legacy 420, Tyendinaga. Open 9 to 9 every day. Visit legacy420.com.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Why not?
I'm trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You know I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. Miseducation.
Cuando go back to Jamaica.
No one's willing to step up and speak.
We'll talk more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at 420radio.ca. I'm your host, Al Graham. Tonight, my joint host, Kim Cooper, has brought us not one, but 2 guests. Up first, one has an award-winning company and has been inspired by a recent trip. Kim's second guest is busy educating and helping others to help educate people, plus much more involved. Before we find out more, it's time for Kim and I to have a bit chat. What do you think, Kim? How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good today, Al. I had a busy day gearing up for 420 adventures. Donations are coming in. Everything is happening. It's been really, really busy. I stopped to take a break and check in on social media a little bit this afternoon, and I almost fell over with the article that I read.
Yeah, I imagine a few people are. You know, on our Reefer Reporter segment on Monday, you and we discussed how the fellows from Bonify, how the RCMP have decided that doesn't appear to be any charges going towards them over their 200 kilograms of cannabis that was bought from, not by the legal sources.
That's right, and illicit cannabis. It was illicit cannabis. It's been deemed illicit cannabis, and the corporation, we all know that they were the player in it, and they purchased that illicit cannabis. 200 grams, as you said.
200, not 200 grams. It was 200 kilograms.
200 kilograms, sorry. My bad. 200 kilograms. Okay, so now what's going on in Winnipeg today?
Well, in Winnipeg, a fellow there, he's been charged under the new Cannabis Act. He was busted with 85 grams of cannabis, and he is going to serve 10 months in jail.
10 months in jail for 85 grams of cannabis that's deemed illicit gets you 10 months in jail. But a corporation in this country can have 200 kilograms of illicit cannabis, and they're not even being investigated?
Yeah, he wasn't just charged for simple possession. He was charged with possession of cannabis for the purpose of distributing under the Federal Cannabis Act, which I guess in the old days would have been, sort of trafficking.
That's right, dealing. You're a dealer. Well, isn't that exactly what this corporation is? They're our dealer, right?
Exactly. They sold an illegal product to people, and this guy's been accused of the same thing, not even getting charges for the one company, and this guy's going to jail for 10 months?
10 months for 85 grams. And this is legalization in Canada?
This isn't right. This is,
No. And then people say, it's legal now. Why are you having a 420?
This is exactly why. This is one reason. This is just one of many reasons why.
Just one. That's right. 85 grams of pot gets you 10 months in jail with Canada's legalization program. While legal producers get away with selling illicit cannabis on the market and don't even get investigated. Yeah, there's a problem with that.
Big time. And I'm sure this scenario is going to be brought up in court cases across the country. Defense lawyers will be bringing this up for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I hope this gets appealed because there's no way in hell that this should stand. We've got to fight back against this. This is absolutely prejudicial, and it's definitely got to be appealed.
Yeah, for sure. It's hopefully that does happen.
Yeah, well, we'll be keeping an eye on this one for sure, and I mean, others are up and coming in the courts, so we'll be watching.
Correct, for sure. All right, Kim, what do you think? Time to bring in our guests?
Absolutely. Guest number 1 on the agenda for tonight. I mean, it's an exciting night with 2 players in our midst.
Well, our first guest, as I said, got an award-winning company, has a trip that's really inspired her. So let's welcome Tracy Lamourie to the Pace Radio Show. Hello, Tracy. How are you?
Hello, friends. How are you guys?
Good. And yourself?
Thanks so much for having me. Amazing. I'm stuck somewhere in between Jamaica and Los Angeles this week. That award-winning company. It's true. It's crazy. That award-winning company you mentioned has clients that are sending me all over the place to do all kinds of cool things. But the reason I wanted to talk to you about this time is not about any of my clients or any of that stuff, but really about just kind of what happened to me and how my mind was blown in Jamaica.
Yeah, you had an amazing trip there.
Yes.
I followed you on social media. You did a lot of posting, and I thank you for that. We got to go along on your trip with you and see a lot of the sites that you got to see, the ganja farms that you visited and the locals that you visited.
Yeah.
Just an amazing place, isn't it?
That was it was amazing to me because we went to Negril too for a day or two and, did the beach thing and the tourist thing and saw all that. But really our trip was like people of Jamaica, the real people of Jamaica. We visited a village, a small village with a locally owned retreat owned by a Rasta, and the whole community gets involved there. They've all it's crazy. They literally built this place called Blue Hole Mineral Springs from the ground up, with no machines. Amazing, no machines. It's a 4-story building that looks like something out of Florence, Italy in the 1400s. I mean, literally built it.
Yeah, I saw pictures and it was gorgeous. And
unbelievable.
It's just handmade, right? This is homemade.
Yeah, and so that's where we stayed. But I mean, we were just sort of introduced them to the community. That's it's basically you leave Negril and about a half an hour away from Negril, way up in the mountains where the tourist department tells you not to go, and there's all those warnings about this and that, where the real people live, past a long and winding road, through all the shacks and the little bars that are actually just little rooms, and then
going up the side of a mountain
until we ended up. Up the mountain, we're literally in the mountains, looking down on the rainforest and looking over across the sea, and just amazing. But we had conversations late at night with, Rasta elders. Oh, you guys will laugh at this. And one gentleman, we've literally been talking for 5 minutes after he saw me, walked by, said hello, and, kept on going on my way. When I came back, he stopped me, and I thought he was going to sell something, but no one's really selling anything there. Hands me a giant joint. He's like, no, it's a gift for you. I mean, somehow in our 2-minute conversation, obviously, I have bright red hair for those who know me. And it kind of came from that, but he nicknamed me Mama Fire. And then I laughed oh, it's just the hair. And he goes, no, this is your name because it's been revealed to you.
Well, you got a fire in your soul, that's for sure, Tracy.
He said the reason for it, he said, apparently he thinks that I'm, I'm apparently nice and mothering and all that stuff. But he goes, this is the funny part. He goes, but you don't even realize when there's an injustice or when someone does wrong, he goes, you don't even realize how crazy you get.
Right on.
So I guess he thinks I'm a fighter, so that's my thing. But anyway, most importantly, I want to get to, so, we met a security guard that we spent time talking to all night long. He had shared with us at one point that, life would be 100% different with him if he could literally have a tent, because then he would be able to go up in the woods, or in the mountains, and grow spices and stay with his spices and basically develop a business out of that. So we got back and I spoke with Michael DeRoche, who unfortunately here in Hamilton, Delta 9, recently renamed J-Spot, has been shut down by the police just this last week, and they're dealing with some bullshit over that. But just before that happened, Mike from Delta 9 handed me $200 US to send to change this guy's life in Jamaica. And so the guy, I should play the recording next time you're on air, I'll send you the recording just so you can have a little 2-minute thank you message from Jamaica to the cannabis community here. But that was one quick thing that we could do. And what we're doing now is we found out that somebody there named Roxy, who's affiliated with the Blue Hole Mineral Springs, the community that, put everything into this little hotel, hoping that they're going to kind of develop from it. This year is the 19th anniversary of something called Giveaway Day, where Roxy, who lives there, Rasta elder, gathers books and stuff for other learning things, with the quotes, for the community of children. We met while we were there 3 or 4 insanely competent people. Okay, so they can build, a mansion out of their hands. They can talk philosophy late into the night. They can grow the best ganja you've ever smoked, but they can't read. And we met 3 or 4 people in that village that was the case. And the reason for that is they have to pay for school, and they have to pay. They can't go to school anymore when there's no money for school, and they can't go to school when their families don't have money for uniforms, and then everything just stops. So we even met the girl, 18 or 19, who was serving us. When I was asking her to spell her name, I realized I embarrassed her because she couldn't spell her name. So the whole community is trying to change that. So the children of the community, there's 3 local villages. We were staying in Brighton, Jamaica. It's right beside Little Bay, and it's near Sheffield, and there's a bunch of little villages there. And there's something called Giveaway Day for the children of all of those communities. They come out once a year. It's on Easter or towards the end of April. And Roxy gathers all the books and learning things that he can out of their resources. And we said, me and the other girl and the other people that were on the team with us when we were, gone to check out Jamaica, pursuant to a project that might come to fruition or not. But whether or not it does, we were just really touched and amazed by the people that we met there, and we really felt welcome. And I explained to them that, we look at this not as charity, but I said this to some of our friends there, but we call it Canna Family. And I said, in Canada, we call it Canna Fam, and we help each other. It's not a charity thing. It's a community, just like you guys have a community here. He was nodding okay, because they get that in the village, right? And right. So I said, so, we thank you for, we feel like, they kept us we're family. So now we feel like we're family. So our Canna family wants to do something for your Canna family, and so for your family. So we want to basically fundraise for their event. And we only have 3 weeks now for this year. So this year we're only thinking anything that we can do just to show that we're here and we care. And then as of for next year, we're looking at a really big initiative where we can collect a lot and fundraise a lot, and maybe even go over there for Giveaway Day and, just really make an impact. Because it's something, when you go somewhere or you see something and you realize with a couple of little steps it can make a big difference. That's what happened to us. And I know there's need all over the world, and every single where we go we'll see need, but I just feel like when we find ourselves somewhere, it's for a reason. And maybe I would say that for a reason, and this might be part of it.
It takes one person like you to start something to change an entire community's life. We all can go to these places. That's right. We can all go to these places and say, yeah, you can see that anywhere you go, and then just walk away and do nothing. But as long as we continue to do that, then this is what the situation is perpetrated, and it continues. It takes something like you to do this initiative.
And on one final...
Let's make it stop.
Because I'm talking to Canada people here, I should really mention one thing before I let you guys let me go. Is I was educated on a lot, from even sugar, how much damage the sugar that the rum, the sugar that we eat in our coffee or tea. It's still like the banana republic in Jamaica, like it was 300 years ago in terms of the people not being able to profit. The one Rasta guy told me, you can work your whole life on that really hard work on the sugar fields and never ever have enough to ever buy your own anything. Yeah. And I said to that guy, because we're hearing now about all the Canadian companies and all the American companies going into Jamaica and taking their resources now with cannabis. And I said, I don't know what impact or where I am in any part of this Jamaica project, but if I've been introduced to this now, and I've learned a lot here, and if I have anything to say about it, or if we have anything to say about it, I'm calling on our community here, we cannot let that plant, cannabis, be the next sugarcane that devastates other communities while we just take. We can't. Yep. Because that would be the biggest injustice that ever happened on the planet if that happened to Jamaica on cannabis.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Or as
And
they
you know,
call it,
like
on
you say,
weed or ganja.
a lot of this starts with education, right? You know, like a lot of these
Yeah.
elders and the people that you spoke to, the adult population, they can't read, they can't write. And a lot of times that gets passed down to the next generation. Well, they can't read, so their kids don't read, and then their grandkids don't read. So the introduction of books and reading programs and education in these communities can do so much to change their future.
So much. Like I've just never seen it. I mean, I didn't realize till the 4th or 5th day in that all these people that I was growing and learning from and admiring so much couldn't even read. You know, and they really couldn't. Even the young people, like when I asked a girl, because my hearing is bad, so I asked, that's why I said, can you spell? I didn't understand her. I didn't want to make them repeat. That's why I said, can you spell your name? And she was like 3 letters in, and she was pausing.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for that. So this is not just the 50-year-olds. This is like an 18-year-old. And this is going to be the 8-year-olds.
It gets handed down.
You know,
it's the way of life that gets handed down, and that's what has to change.
Like, and you know, it's affordability. A lot of you know, the people don't make it through. You know, even in high school or in.
Yeah. Well, there's very little education, public education system there. They've got the basics in school, and a lot of them don't even make it, you know, through what we would know as grade 3 and grade 4, and they're already out working.
Yeah,
and
that's part of it.
Shocking. I never thought of Jamaica. Like, I never thought of Jamaica as a third world country or whatever you want to call it, because I feel like we know the Jamaican people so well from Canada. I grew up with Jamaican people, like literally was the biggest ethnic group in my school. Like there was, we all ate patties. I grew up in Scarborough, you know.
I have neighbors.
And so, right, like, I mean, so that was literally like, I feel like it was my second culture growing up.
Yeah.
So it was actually super shocking to me to go into something that the people are so familiar to me, and then to see the extreme poverty as soon as we left the resort area, which I did not know. I mean, I'd seen pictures of this. Like you had told me, Kim, you had told me that people are poor, take things, but you don't realize that it's 90% of the country.
You don't really know it. It doesn't impact you until you see it. And once you see it, that's when it kind of smacks you right in the face and go, oh my God. I had no idea. It does, and like you say, it doesn't matter how many books you read. It doesn't matter how many stories you see, you hear, or pictures you see. You don't feel it. The impact isn't there till you see it.
And I know this is just one of a million stories people will hear of places they can give their money to, whether it's this one or something else, just to help people, you know. But it's so, like you say, when you have been, you feel like when you're there, and I mean, I saw the need, and it's things that we can easily help with. Like if I had $100 today, it would make, that $100 would make such a big difference, you know. And that $100, if I give that away today, it's gonna, even though I'm really broke, I know it's going to come back to me, because it always does. I'm scared right now because in 4 days I'm going to LA. I'm going to need to have money in my pocket. What if I'm broke? So I didn't, donate to the fundraiser right now. But I know if I go send $50 to that fundraiser right now, by the end of the week, I'm going to have that money replaced in my pocket. It's going to happen.
That's right.
And
I mean, it's so poor there. Like, we left Jamaica last time we were there. When we were on our way out, Steve gave a guy at the airport, he gave him his shoes. Took them off. And said, here, you know, like, you can take these. I'll throw these sandals on for my plane ride. I don't give a shit. Take my runners, you know. Like, that's how poor they are. They don't have shoes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I left, I realized, because Cassie doesn't care about soccer. One of the shirts he had, one of his friends had given him like a soccer shirt, like a name brand soccer, whatever, of the big team of in Spain. Well, all these kids at this stage, they have a big soccer game over there. They love soccer. Like, it's the older people tell me it's literally one of the things that saves music and soccer. Like, saves the young people there, because they have goals and that's a dream, and it's like anywhere. And so I said to them, I was kind of shy because it's a youth shirt. But I was like, but it's really nice. It's brand new. Cassie's worn it like once, you know. I'm like, do you think if I left this and one of the kids would like this? And he's like, and you could tell he would like it. The guy,
they're gonna die for that. Yeah.
So I left that, just a little thing on my couch, and couldn't care less about it, so I left it. But here's one thing I'm really happy with, and I'll leave you guys with this. So that $200 that Michael DeRoche of people know it as, it's Jay's spot recently, but people knew it as Delta 9 in Hamilton. So when I came back from Jamaica and I told Michael about these people that I met and the tent story, because that's the first thing I wanted to deal with, because I knew that one thing would, for like $125 or $200 US, because it turned out they had a company, the duty, would change a person's life and like basically set up a business and set them up for years and years. So I wanted to do that right away. I told Michael, I thought it would take me a couple of weeks to put it together. But Michael gave me, $200 cash, and Bob Woolsey gave me $80 Canadian, and that was the money right there. And the funny thing, the sad thing is, 2 days, but in a way it makes me smile, because I told Michael this. 2 days later, Delta 9 and Jay's spot was shut down by the police. The police stole from them hundreds of, whatever worth of product, thousands of dollars worth of product, all the money that was there. And if that, it's funny because that $200 that Michael gave me was $200 US cash that he had in the drawer of his store. And that would have been taken by the police, but just more of the crap they stole from us.
Well, it's done more good now then, right?
That little $200 is like a gift from heaven to somebody.
Yeah.
And it's literally changing lives in that community, and he's going to change other lives with it.
Yeah.
Instead
so
of, Hamilton Police having it in their coffers.
It's kind of along the lines of like a microloan that they don't have to pay back, right?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking is, well, it's like all the good of a microloan, like you just literally. And in fact, that's another thing I was thinking. Microloans would be amazing in Jamaica because everybody's an entrepreneur. And everybody sells stuff, and everybody does what they can. So, like, a few like $200 microloans in Jamaica would literally change everything for people too.
They really would.
Anyway, that's that.
So giveaway day.
Want to support it?
Giveaway day is what you're pushing here. It's a GoFundMe account, so you go to GoFundMe.com/giveaway day, and
it looks
let's
like
give these people some support.
It's GoFundMe.com/give-away-day to find it. Or you can find it on my page, Tracy, and I think maybe, Kim, if you share it, people will find it on your page. And just through the conversation here, there was nothing on it when we started this call because it's only just been made, and it's been shared 9 times now, and $38 raised by 2 people. So we've got one $18 donation and a $20 donation since we started this conversation. So
excellent.
Good. One question, Tracy, before we let you go, because it all connects. We'll go to our break here at the same time. It all sort of connects. It all connects together. How was the cannabis?
Oh my God! So if you ever want to try good Jamaican cannabis, and do not let people tell you it's not good, because I went there and had so many people telling me it's not going to be as good as ours, which is insane. We stayed. Go to Blue Hole Mineral Springs. They actually grow cannabis near there. And Orange Hill, remember my words here, Orange Hill. They claim it's the best cannabis in the world, and the reason for it, it's certainly the best in Jamaica, I think. And the reason for it is it's grown literally with the natural mineral spring water, and like just naturally. And because of where it is specifically by the equator of the whatever they were saying, it's just perfect for cannabis. And I tried. I had live rosin there, which I was blown away by. I didn't get a chance to try live rosin made in Jamaica. I smoked hash in Jamaica. I smoked like 5 or 6 different kinds of strains. The first time we got it, from a stranger, like on the side of the road. It was okay, kind of what I expected. When we got to Blue Hole Mineral Springs, every single joint they passed was crazy. They knew their strains. They had Larry OG there. They had, what else did they have? I can't even remember. We had a whole bunch of, but it was stellar. It was amazing. Oh. And I got to try the original vape, which they call the steam chalice. And it looked like a hookah. And he explained, no, it doesn't burn it. It just, vaporizes. He didn't use the word vaporize. But Dave said, so it's like a vaporizer. And he's like, exactly. And it looked like a big hookah. And it was like you were smoking a hookah, but they call it a steam chalice. And when you sucked it, it was just like a smooth vaporizer. So we didn't invent this shit.
No, the original chalice is made out of a coconut. The original one is made out of a coconut, and it uses a reed for the draw stem. They're very cool, and they use charcoal that you put it on top of because fire is supposed to hit it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, Tracy, because you're going to leave now, we'll go to break.
Yep, bye.
And that's a great story about the cannabis, because that cannabis story helps with the music that I picked to use for the bumper. While you're here on the program, because I usually try to match things up. Okay, now because they call you Fire Mama, right? You got
Mama
your
Fire.
red,
yeah.
Right? You got your red hair. You mentioned something at the beginning about devilish or something. You could be, a nasty person along the line. So what I've done is I've picked a song, and we're going to play the whole song because I don't normally play the whole song, but I have to play the whole song because it's a story, right? So what we're going to hear is a Travis Myers song called "The Devil Went to Jamaica," which is quite the story, as I said. Tracy, right. You're the devil, and Jamaica is Johnny in the story, all right? When you listen to it, all right? All right. And
I'll take that.
And when we come back after the break, the people will be hearing a song, part of a song, about what you would hear in Jamaica the people say, and that is the word respect.
Oh, my God. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So.
Okay. Respect.
Good
guys,
luck, Tracy. You got a shout out? You got a shout out before you go?
I just want to shout out, I guess, to the amazing, awesome family that I met at Blue Hole Mineral Springs. And if anybody wants a real awesome, life-changing experience, not just, some time at the beach, which you can get to, honestly, guys, Blue Hole Mineral Springs. And I'm not working for them. I'm just telling you, it was an amazing experience. Go check it out. Half an hour from Brighton. That's my shout out. Half an hour from Negril, Jamaica.
Sounds good.
Love you guys.
Okay, everybody. We will return when Kim and I will be joined by our second guest after the break, and we'll see you shortly. This is the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at 420radio.ca.
Hey, man, where are we going?
Listen to the announcement.
Attention passengers. Boarding now, flight 420.
Hey, this is Cheech. And this is Chong. And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio. What is it? Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time. 420 Radio? Ooh.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The devil went to Jamaica. He was looking to sell some weed. He was doing fine. They were standing in line. It was excellent weed indeed. When he came across the young man who was likewise peddling pot, and the devil slid down the beach to the kid and said, "Boy, let me tell you what. I guess you kind of figured I'm a reefer head, of course. And after all this time, I guess that I'm a connoisseur of sorts. Now, your stuff smells okay, but this could tranquilize a horse. I'll bet $1 million in cash against your stash because I think mine's better than yours." The boy said, "My name's Johnny, and you ain't smoked nothing yet. One hit of this grass will kick your ass. You got yourself a bed. Johnny, roll a ball of hash and make sure it's the bomb, because the devil's got the kind of stuff they smoked in Vietnam. You'll get $1 million smackaroos in cash if you can cope, but if you can't, the devil will get your dope." The devil packed a bong with a little Acapulco gold, and resin flew from his fingertips as he fired up his bowl. He filled that chamber all the way, and he took a mighty hit. And as they passed it back and forth, it gave them both a coughing fit. Damn. When the bowl was finished, Johnny said, "Hey, man, that stuff was great, but fill your lungs with some of this and prepare to vegetate. Cannabis, sativa, sweet Mary Jane. The devil's in the backyard frying his brain. Zigzag filled with a diggity dank. Hold on tight, it'll hit you like a tank." The devil nodded off because he knew that he was stoned, and he asked if he could buy an ounce of the stuff that Johnny owned. Johnny said, "Devil, just come on back if you ever want to catch a buzz. I done told you once, you son of a bitch, mine's the best there ever was." And they fired up doobies one by one. Ain't gonna stop till the bag's done. Green as a bullfrog, sticky as glue. Granny, do you get high? Yes, I do.
Legacy 420 has medicinal and recreational products down to a science, literally. With 2 biochemists on staff and a chief scientific advisor, every product is tested in the Legacy 420 laboratory. Legacy 420, Tyendinaga. Open 9 to 9 every day. Visit legacy420.com.
When it comes to medical concerns, they say you should always listen to your doctor. We agree, so we suggest that you tune into The Higher Estate with Dr. Ira Price to see what the doctor says. Catch that Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Ira Price, The Higher Estate, only here at 420radio.ca.
Hey there, this is Kim Cooper of the Reefer Reporters. Catch myself and Al Graham for our weekly Reefer Report. Tune in every Monday around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we discuss and give our opinions on the previous week's headline news. Everything in cannabis news here on the Reefer Reporters on 420radio.ca.
Tune in to DJ Passion from the land of Ganja, the island of Jamaica, when he comes to you live every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only here at 420radio.ca. But you can listen in to midnight every weekend as he spins your favorite reggae tunes, including the classics from Butterfly's Passion Bed and Breakfast, high above Discovery Bay. DJ Passion makes you feel like you're on the island, and he gets your dance floor hopping. But it's the thing he loves to do. Whether you've been to Jamaica or not, DJ Passion makes you feel like you're on the island. Head to the land of sun and fun and Ganja Weekly when you tune in Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to Reggae Saturday with DJ Passion, only here at 420radio.ca.
Man, have you been to Cannabis yet? Cannabis, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Cannabis. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Cannabis can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. Cannabis. Have your say without saying a word. Cannabis.ca.
Respect, right, makes the world go round. Respect, don't put others down. Respect, not a necessity. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Respect, come again, and you can't be fooled. Respect, not. It's the goal.
Hello and welcome back. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at 420radio.ca. But if you missed the live shows, don't worry. You can always catch us afterwards. We're podcasted at iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, plus other audio apps, so you can find us in other locations. Tonight on the radio show, I'm joined by my joint host, Kim Cooper, as well as our second guest of the program. We had two tonight. And what do you think, Kim? Time to introduce our guest?
Yes, absolutely. I'm pretty excited about this. She's got a lot going on.
She sure does. Okay, as I said at the top of the show, our next guest has been involved in cannabis education. She loves to educate people about it, and she loves to help others. So we'd like to welcome Kelly Addison to the Pace Radio Show. Hello, Kelly. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me here. It's been quite pleasurable to listen to the first half of the show with Tracy.
That was quite the story.
Yeah, you guys are amazing what you're doing.
The adventure she had down there, I know it touched her. As Kim said, myself, we followed her on Facebook with her pictures and her stories that she was saying during those posts, and yeah.
Yeah, it was almost like being there with her, watching her photos and the way that she would describe it. It's quite incredible. What I find interesting is how much time she spent with the Rastafarians. And it's actually the Rastafarian belief that they believe that when you're high, it is your natural state. When you're not high, it's a facade. And so I think that there may be some truth to that because we smell better, we see better, we hear better.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. You know, the third eye is awoken, so to speak. Everything becomes a little bit more clear.
I think they're onto something down there.
A lot of people agree. That's for sure. It's so great to have you on the show tonight with us, Kelly. I've got to admit, I know very little about you, but what I do know and what I have learned about you through my research in the last couple of days, I'm excited to learn more. You've got a lot going on over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm enjoying being a member of the cannabis community, and I'm enjoying learning as I go and seeing all the different new and exciting things and being able to talk about it and being able to share it with all the members of my Green Lounge.
Yeah, I mean, that's why this is exciting for me, because a lot of our past guests and a lot of the people that we kind of gravitate towards and that we know regularly here on the show as guests on the show, we're either longtime patients, longtime activists, longtime business owners, people that have been doing this for a decade or more. We all kind of know each other a little bit. And it's good to get a different perspective with you being relatively new to the community.
Yeah. And I will say that along the way, as I meet people like yourselves and other people that are in the industry and have been in the industry for quite some time, mad respect to all of you. Like, you paved the way for this. All of this would not be happening without your passion for helping people and for putting it out there into the mainstream. So I'm so excited to be involved with it and be a new person in the scene. And I really have my hands down to everybody that has been paving the way along the way.
So, okay, to get us started, let's start off with, okay, you're new to the scene and you're interested in the Green Mile and you kind of dove right in head first, which is awesome. What brought you to this point? What gravitated you towards cannabis?
Yeah, well, I guess you could say I sort of identify as kind of a hippie and maybe a trustworthy mom figure too. And that coupled with the fact that it's no secret that I've kind of been a music industry professional and living that lifestyle before my son was born. So it was sort of given that I had known my way around the marijuana plant.
You're
so
not new to cannabis.
Right. You know, I've been around. I partied like a rock star with rock stars, and I won't get into that today. That's quite a bit of a more story. So when dispensaries started popping up, I guess a couple of years ago, I just started exploring them and all their new products. And I've always baked edibles or made infused popcorn. I was actually always the guest that showed up to the parties with the edibles. And so people, I was always that person that was making the popcorn. So I guess my circle and my vast network just sort of relied on me as somebody that they would go to question. So I became the go-to person for a lot of my girlfriends and a lot of my mom friends who didn't have really maybe somebody that they could talk to about that. But I didn't have all the answers, so I decided that because people were starting to talk to me about it and because I was starting to be the one that was bringing up topics, that I would start to educate myself, take certifications, take classes, and do what I could so that I would be able to inform myself and therefore the people that were asking me the questions. And that's how Kelly's Green Lounge came about. So it's sort of something where people can come and do workshops, classes. We do yoga toke, we do paint and toke, we do comedy stoner night, the movies, we do workshops and seminars. People will come and they'll speak at them just to teach. And then we're sort of, we do other things like bachelorette parties and cannabis weddings and toke buddy experiences, just so people can have a place, because we are in a rural community. We are in Clarington. We are far away enough from Toronto that we're not saturated there. And there's nobody doing it out here. And I found that there was a real market and there was a real need for it. And I've sort of been that in-between person.
I find it a conservative area.
Yeah.
A bit of a conservative area,
Yeah, that whole
It is,
area.
although we do have the green light. Clarington did get the green light for dispensary, so one day we're hoping
One
yeah.
day.
Somebody opted
One
in,
day.
eh?
Yeah.
Opted in Clarington, and you moved away, Al.
Yeah,
Come back,
yeah.
Al, it's great here.
I live in an opt-out town. I'm in a dry town.
Yeah, poor Al. So I mean, people were basically already going to you for this information because you were in the thick of it already. You were a consumer. You're aware of it. You know what you're doing already because you've been doing it for years. So with the onset of the evolution of legalization and, like you said, dispensaries and lounges and everything else were popping up, it's kind of at a point where it's a well, why not situation, right?
Right. Yep. And so I left my big, important corporate job and I just needed to leave, and I took all my savings and I put it into whatever I could here, and I've been doing everything that I can ever since to sort of bring cannabis to this community and also to the online community too. We have really wonderful people that have joined our closed group on Facebook. It's closed just simply for the fact that you have to be 19 plus to follow, and networking and meeting and them meeting each other, learning how to grow their own plants. Who's got seeds? I've got seeds. Who's got baked goods? I've got baked goods. And it's sort of growing and building from there. And now I'm starting to do a podcast and a newsletter, and it's just really taken a big interest, and I'm loving it.
There's a lot of that going on in southern Ontario. In it seems like all of the towns all the way along the 401, all the way, you know, from Kingston to Niagara Falls. You see this kind of onset of this happening in all of the little communities all the way along. I mean, we've got Quinte out past you, out by Shannonville and everything, where everything is exploding in Tyendinaga territory. And then you've got the Green Mile near you, and then you've got it going on in Clarendon, and more stuff going on in Pickering, and then Toronto, and so on and so forth. There's just been an explosion of this, eh?
It's amazing. It's wonderful. And what the best and most important thing that it's doing with all of these little places doing their things is it's erasing the stigma. And what really made me get into this in more of a passionate way is I love someone very much that is very sick and refuses to try cannabis in any form, no matter what it is, and there's no way that I'm going to convince them otherwise. But if I can't help that person, then I can help another person, and then I can help somebody's parent or somebody's friend or somebody's partner. And that's really what it is. Erase the stigma. Get rid of it. This is not a bad thing. It's not a drug of yesterday. It's a medicine, and it's a lifestyle, and it's helping so many people. And if we keep doing this in all the different places, like you suggested, all along the 401 and every other community, then we will erase it. And everybody will recognize that, hey, this isn't such a bad thing.
Sure. Yeah. It's the grassroots advocacy work that is helping so much to help change people's minds. Like, some people thought it was crazy to try to change one person's mind at a time, but you know, sometimes if you're only talking to one person, you know, that's what happens, and then that spreads, and it spreads more. And if you can talk to 50 people in a group, you know, that spreads 50 times much more.
What was that old commercial on TV, Al? You know, Kelly's probably not old enough to remember it, but you will. It was for one of them shampoos. It was, and then she told two friends, and so on and so on, and so on, and it just kept doubling up on the screen, you know, with these pictures, and it would double with 2, and then it would double with 4, and then it would double with 8, and you know, and I mean, that's exactly how it works.
And when you can get
and look at all the celebrities that are getting involved now. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You've got so many that are passionate about it, and they're talking about it, and they're advocating for it. You've got Morgan Freeman, you've got Whoopi Goldberg, you've got people that are saying this is my passion. You've got Jackie Child, who is Canadian and one of the most beautiful women in the world, and what she's done is she's turned her celebrity, her beauty, into becoming a cannabis advocate. That is amazing. If more people do that, that will help erase the stigma. And yes, and we do have the grassroots, and that's probably the most important because there's so many numbers. But when you have faces like Montel Williams coming to Toronto at the end of the month, where all these people that are campaigning for it and doing all of the conferences, wow, keep doing it. Keep putting it out there, saying it's okay. It's okay to medicate. It's okay to be on this. Yeah, beautiful.
On it, you know, lots of people. And then, you know, just like Al and I reported on Reefer Reporters just on a couple of days ago, you've got the more common faces that are well-known, celebrityism sort of a thing with trusted faces, with newscasters that are now facing health issues and are turning to cannabis. Tom Brokaw recently came out, who it was in broadcasting for 50 years. So he's a very trusted face by especially seniors that watch the news and watch him do the news on NBC for 50 years. You know, you've got people like that coming up and saying, you know what, the medicine I'm going to for this is cannabis. And all of that, all of these people taking a stand is what is killing the stigma.
Well, that's right. I was at the Green Mile the other day, and I was in one of the dispensaries there, and I would say 85% of the people in there were seniors, at least 60 years old, and they were there because they were told, probably by the Tom Brokaws in the world, that it's okay. Come to these places, you will find what you need, and it will help you, and it is helping one by one by one, and they're getting rid of it. And what we do at Kelly's Green Lounge is we do things like Toke Buddy experiences, where there are people that, be it seniors or be it somebody that's middle-aged or even younger that's had a bad experience, tripped out, greened out, whatever, and we sit with them and we'll smoke a joint and we'll say it's okay. And if they trip out more, we've got CBD to back this up. We've got peppercorn to help us, sort of regulate it there. Or we'll just sing or tell jokes or watch something funny. And if you build your tolerance little by little, then maybe the next time won't be so bad. Or maybe the time after that won't be so bad. And then the next time, you're going to have a great time.
Yeah, and sometimes that's all it takes is somebody sitting there with you telling you you're okay. This is all right. You're going to get past this hump, and then you're going to be fine. And just that reassurance is all they need.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree on the senior end. I'll tell you, I've been seeing this for years, and I look at it, the people who are seniors now were the people of the 60s.
Yeah.
That's 50 years ago, right?
That's right. I mean, we talk about the senior movement and everything else. I mean, you got to think about this. Mick Jagger is in hospital for heart surgery right now. He's 70 years old. Ozzy Osbourne, 71. These are the seniors. And we've been consuming cannabis, most of us, from the beginning. We just found out in the last decade to 2 decades that, hey, you know what? It's been medicinal all along.
All along. You have healed your body all along. Congratulations. I think if Mick hadn't, where would he be now? We probably wouldn't even get the chance to see him again, because maybe that has prolonged his life. We don't know, right? There's not enough studies to show, but I do know that somebody that is under the influence, whether it's medical or recreational, certainly has a higher quality life than somebody that wasn't.
Absolutely.
And I will stand by that. It will, but it's not for everybody. But for the most people, if they can just get past that stigma and they can just think, okay, I'm going to try it. Maybe I'll try a little edible, maybe a corner of a brownie today, or maybe I'll just try a puff this time. And it's not going to be a big of an effect, but maybe it'll just help me grow my tolerance. And that's really all that anybody needs to do.
Oh, absolutely. And that is the key, right? Is low dose. Start small. Don't overwhelm your system. Don't take too much. Microdosing. That's big now.
Well, that's going to be about the legal limit too.
Yeah.
Well, that's just right. It is.
Yeah.
The new manufacturer limit is 10 milligrams. So, you're pretty much safe with that.
And when you're experiencing it in medical. Go ahead.
It's adding, those cannabinoids to a cannabinoid system that needs some repair.
Yeah. It's adding that extra little piece of magic that our body is missing without it.
Absolutely.
That's right, exactly.
Keeping us running healthy. So you've got a storefront operation.
Nope.
No,
there's no storefront. No, we're mobile.
That's what I found out too. I was thinking lounge, right? And I was thinking lounge,
I wish.
vapor lounge. And it's nothing to do with the vapor lounge, does it, Kelly?
So, the initial idea was to open something like that, but Health Canada has a lot of regulations, and I try to always do the legal thing just so when it comes to the elderly people or the people that are looking for help, they can look at me as sort of, yes, we are doing the legal thing. I can say to them, there's nothing that I'm doing that wouldn't be legal. And so when I first initially wanted to open up something, I was looking at doing a lounge, but Health Canada will not let you smoke or vape inside. So you can't really have stoner comedy nights without that. You can't really have paint and toke without that. Of course, you can medicate in different ways without the smoking, but, why can't we have a volcano? Why can't we have something that's going to make us really enjoy our painting night that much more?
That's right.
So I thought about it, and now what I do is I do things at a wellness center. I do things at a farm. I'm remote. I can go on location and do a bachelor party in a home, and I have access to different locations, which are more of a private residence or more of a private location, so that we are being as regulated as we possibly can, and we are doing everything that is not going to be against the Health Canada standards.
Right, but you can still smoke because it's a private residence. It's not a public
You bet.
venue.
And we do. We just had a wonderful spiritual Sunday this past Sunday with one of our incredible yoga teachers who did a yin yoga, and that was just amazing. And I must say, yoga is always better under the influence of cannabis. Always, in my opinion.
Yeah,
done that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've all tried that, and yeah, absolutely can attest to that. A much better experience if you're medicated.
Now,
you open up more. Yeah.
You like on the yoga end of things, like as far as your educational background, we touched a little bit on that. I see you're involved in other ways of healing as well.
Right. Yeah. I've taken different courses in herbal medicine and naturopath, and I'm a Reiki healer, which I can use actually to infuse the things that I make. So I'm growing plants right now. We're allowed to have 4 plants per household. So I am growing my babies. They call them my girls, and each one of them has a name, and I talk to them, and I actually do Reiki on them. I'm not kidding. Right. You're laughing at me. You know what, Al? I'm going to bring you some after, and you're going to love it.
I'll tell you. I have names too, okay? I have names too.
That's why he's laughing. He's chuckling with you, not
okay, good. You get it, Ben.
We have a lot in common. You know, we're just meeting, but boy, do we ever have a lot in common.
All right. Best friends forever. Yeah, I think that when I go in, I talk to them every morning. I give them their mist bath. Good morning, Cindy Lou. And I know that might sound silly, but I feel like I'm connecting to them a little bit more. I'm going to be doing an outdoor grow with Jack Herer in the summertime, all Jack Herer seeds. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to name them Jackie and Jacquelina, like all Jack girl names. I'm thinking that I have to. Yeah.
Well, what I've always said is if you love your plants, they will love you back.
They will. They absolutely will.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you ignore them.
In a school, right? They did that in a school where they set up, they put 2 plants in like boxes, clear boxes. And one of them they bombarded with recorded insults and hate speech. And one of them they bombarded with beautiful music. And they showed the difference. The one that was bombarded with hate speech was stunted and didn't grow.
Yep. That's energy. That's energy right there. And as an energy healer, someone that has healed with my hands, I've seen it. I know it happens. I know it works. I fully and completely believe in energy healing. So if you're giving something negative energy, it's going to feel that. If you're giving, whether it's a plant, whether it's a human, whether it's an inanimate object, we are all full of energy. So if you can be as positive as you can to your neighbor, to other humans, and to other plants, then they will feel that and they'll respond back to you.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. Because if you're hanging around with people that are always negative, you're always going to be negative.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was the whole point of that little experiment that I seen that they had done in that school was to show the kids, well, if this is what happens to a plant, imagine what happens to a human being.
I love that.
Right.
That's such a great thing. And kids will learn from that. And I've seen that experiment before, and I know that they do show it in quite a few different schools and classrooms, and kids can always benefit because they can see it and they take from it because it's evidence.
Tangible evidence they can grab onto. Absolutely, for sure. It's all connected, right? The energy, the plant healing, all of it.
Yep. And we can heal by energy, we can heal by, plants. We are, as long as we're healing ourselves and we're loving ourselves, those things will come back to us.
Yeah. Now,
I'm a damn hippie. Can you tell?
Now, there's something else here that I see, because I like to bring this up, because a lot of people, and this helps eliminate the stigma, and you don't really have to do this on this end of the show, but when you're doing things publicly and you're speaking publicly, I like to be able to touch on other things so people just don't think you're a cannabis person. You give them a bit of an idea of your background. Like I did a seminar recently where I talked about being involved in hockey and baseball and soccer and stuff with the kids in the town that I lived in, and being involved in the community. I see here you've also got you've been involved in dealing with children with special needs.
Right. Yes. Actually, for the last 10 years, I've been working in the child care and education system with a lot of work with children with special needs. Children are a big part of my heart. And coming from a place of working with children and educating children for the last decade, and then moving into cannabis, I was sort of on the fence and still am about the two crossing over. And people ask me that kind of question a lot. Specifically, is cannabis safe for my child? My first response is always go to your family doctor and ask those questions first, because this is a child. My next would be, everybody is different, and every child is different, and every human is different. So what may work for one may not work for another. I can say that I have successfully helped and counseled families to be able to get their children off of medicine that they were using, chemicals that they were using to affect their ADHD, and they are now using CBD, and it is changing them, and it is helping them. They're no longer zombies. And so I'm very, very, very passionate about children and what we can do with the crossover. And unfortunately, there isn't enough research done right now. Unfortunately, there isn't enough tangible facts. And you have to be really careful with it when it is with kids. The fact is that our brains continue to develop right into adulthood. The fact is that synapses that are firing in our brains all the time are changed based on things to do with things like chemicals or natural products, or even someone telling you no. So we have to be careful when it comes to that. There isn't enough research, but it is something that I'm very, very passionate about, and I'd like to actually learn more. And that's one of the things that I am doing research on right now, is the effect of cannabis to do with children.
Cool. Very cool. There's some really good research out there on it. Dr. What's her name? Al has escaped me. Emily, is it Dwyer or Dewar?
Dewar. Yeah, sorry, Kim. Can't help you out there.
I think it's Dewar, Dr. Emily Dewar. She's done a lot in Jamaica and with Jamaican mothers, pregnancy and after birth, breastfeeding while using cannabinoid therapy and stuff like that. I'll find the link for you and I'll send it to you. She's doing some really good stuff. She's done a recent study, an updated study on one that she did 20 years ago.
I would love to see that. And the more that research that is done, the more people like her that are doing these researches and then posting those studies and publishing that, the more it will happen. When we look at the actual facts, when the medical community looks at actual facts of cannabis helping, they definitely will say, yep, it helps children with epilepsy. Yep, it helps children with multiple sclerosis. And they will actually say, yes, I have seen that. That has been proven. So if more of these studies can be proven, more money going into the funding for it, and more investigations to do with the cannabinoids and children, can you imagine how many people can be helped? Can you imagine how many children would benefit from that?
Yeah, we've got studies on record now for epilepsy and cannabinoid therapy with epilepsy in children going back to the 1940s.
I just posted an article on a boy by the name of Alex. It was an article in Treating Yourself magazine, and the difference, big difference with him using the cannabis compared to not using it.
Right. Yeah. And let's erase that stigma too. Let's erase that stigma where the parents are going, no way. That is a drug. That is horrible. Oh, Cheech and Chong, what are you talking about? They're just sitting there. They're all stoners. But that's just one side of the recreational component of it. Yeah. Let's talk to these parents. Let's show them, hey, there's studies being shown. Maybe it can help you. What is that chemical doing to your kid right now?
Yeah,
what
but they're quick to put them on Ritalin or any of those. You know, they don't look at that as a drug.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, it's legal. It's legal. The doctor prescribed it.
That's right. And so now that legalization is here and now that more medical professionals are prescribing it, more insurance companies are paying for it. And so the people, the parents of yesterday are going, okay, maybe there's something here. Maybe there's something that we can look at a little bit more. There's tangible evidence showing us that there may be some benefit. I know adults, currently adults that are in their 20s and 30s, whose parents put them on these kinds of drugs, and they can't function without something now. Their brains have developed, in a sense, around these drugs so that they can't function. So now if they try to come off them, they become, I don't know, monsters, zombies, whatever, pick your word. They become something other than what they should be. We should look at that kind of evidence.
Where was the concern for the developing brain at that time?
That's right.
Exactly. Oh, such a good point.
All right, ladies.
Where was it?
It's time for a commercial break.
Absolutely, it is. It's
All right.
medication time.
Yeah. Right. Okay, now, Kelly, just so you know, I did the same thing with you. I connected a song to you. Not a whole song. People hear part of a song going in the break. And, you know, if I hadn't known you were such a hippie, I could have picked another song as well, because I know of a good song called Hippie Girl. So, but what I did, because in the information that I have here in front of me about you, it says you are dedicated to the physical and emotional well-being of people, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. So this time people are going to hear a song, or a bit of a song by Lost Marijuana. It's called Marijuana is Good for the Soul.
There you go.
It really is.
Right. Yeah. When we return, Kim and I will continue our conversation with Kelly Addison. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at 420radio.ca.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Marijuana is good for the soul if you wanna. Grow the medical marijuana is good for the soul if you wanna. Grow the medical marijuana is good for the soul. If you wanna grow the medical marijuana, it's good for the soul. If you wanna grow the medical, this is for the growers, the ones that plant the seeds. This is for the cultivators helping those in need. This is for the hard workers watering and hoeing. This is for the seed banks that keep
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Cannabis, your friendly neighborhood Campbellford head shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Let us help you grow your four with weekly Tuesday night gardening sessions for beginners. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. Cannabis, more than just a head shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Tune in to DJ Passion from the land of Ganja, the island of Jamaica, when he comes to you live every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only here at 420radio.ca. But you can listen in to midnight every weekend as he spins your favorite reggae tunes, including the classics from Butterfly's Passion Bed and Breakfast, high above Discovery Bay. DJ Passion makes you feel like you're on the island, and he gets your dance floor hopping. But it's the thing he loves to do. Whether you've been to Jamaica or not, DJ Passion makes you feel like you're on the island. Head to the land of sun and fun and Ganja Weekly when you tune in Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to Reggae Saturday with DJ Passion, only here at 420radio.ca.
Hey there, it's Kim Keeper. No, fuck that. It's Kim Keeper. of the roofer reporters. Here on 420radio.ca. Hey there, it's Kim Cooper of the Reefer Reporters, and I can't stop laughing.
Go.
Hey there, this is Kim Cooper of the Reefer Reporters. Catch myself and Al Graham for our weekly Reefer Report here on 420radio.ca.
Catch the wild, crazy, and the serious Friday nights at 7 p.m. on the 420 Radio Show, only here at 420radio.ca. Some call her a fire plug and others can hear the passion in her voice. Find out what we mean by tuning into Cannabis and Coffee to Marijuana every Wednesday at 12 noon, 10 Mountain Time, here at 420radio.ca.
Legacy 420 has medicinal and recreational products down to a science, literally. With 2 biochemists on staff and a chief scientific advisor, every product is tested in the Legacy 420 laboratory. Legacy 420, Tyendinaga. Open 9 to 9 every day. Visit legacy420.com.
Don't be scared. Take it. Don't mind. Take it. Don't mind. Talk and roll. Pass all right, girl. Here you go. Inhale, exhale, thanks to the Disney boys, just got an ounce in a mail. Marijuana is good for the soul if you wanna. Marijuana is good for the soul if you wanna.
Hey, welcome back and thanks for tuning into the program. As always, we're being broadcasted live here at 420radio.ca, and you can also find us at the Pace Radio Show website, which is found at pace-online.ca. Tonight's our bumper music featured 2 different songs. First, you heard from Travis Meyer and his song Devil Went to Jamaica, which had to do with Tracy Lamourie and her visit to Jamaica and how it inspired her, as well as you just heard some from Los Marijuanos and the song Good for the Soul, which connects us to our second guest, Kelly Addison of Kelly's Green Lines, who joins us here with Northern Ontario, Kim Cooper. Well, ladies, what do you think? We got another segment to go. We got lots more to talk about.
Yeah, lots. We've covered lots already, and just getting to know Kelly here, and it's been great so far. Very interesting lady. We've covered, the Green Lounge and your little traveling enterprise that you set up in your local area and beyond, and traveling around and educating people and helping people through their journeys, and that's fantastic. You do a lot of other stuff too. Tell me a bit about some of the speaking engagements that you've had.
Well, so with the Green Lounge, we do a lot of things. Like, we have workshops and we have seminars. People come out to learn about hydroponics. They can learn about strain education. We had one guy come out and teach us how to roll joints. Can you believe there are not a lot of people that can roll a pro joint? And I'm not talking like with cones. I'm talking like with papers and with the ends. And there's a lot of people that can't. And there's some people that can roll joints into different things. Crosses. Have you seen the crosses and animals? Yes. I need to try one of those. So yeah, we have those come, and we have speakers that come out. We've got somebody that's coming out soon from Tweed to educate about them. Sometimes I go to workshops and seminars and I see the big leaders of the industry speak and learn from them and see the trades that they're talking about and the different trends and where things are going. And then what I do is I take that and I photograph it, and then I put it into an online article for the people that maybe couldn't be at those speaking engagements or seminars and that would want to be and to learn from it.
Awesome. So you're passing on the information from a lot of these expos to the masses. Because it's true, a lot of people can't get there. There's an expo these days, it seems. There's an expo or some sort of an event going on pretty much every weekend from February till November.
Yeah, it feels like
awesome.
No,
it's
I know
amazing.
it's awesome.
It's amazing.
But I mean, how do you get to them all? It's impossible, right?
I felt like that. I told myself, so when I do it, I call it On the Roam, and it's based on something that Jason Momoa started on his online. So I go on the roam with Kelly's Green Lounge and get the information, and then I bring it back to the social medias because not everybody can get there. And I choose 1 or 2 events a month that I think are the biggest events that I would get the most from so that I can bring it back to the people that they can learn too.
Excellent. What an awesome idea. So are you doing all of this from your Kelly's Green Lounge page?
From my Kelly's Green Lounge page, yeah. So I'm Facebook and Instagram, and then we have a newsletter that we send it to our mailing list as well. And then we have our podcast.
Awesome. Yes. Now, where's your podcast broadcasted from?
So it's on anchor.fm. And I think you can find it all around all of the places that you find podcasts, Spotify and Google and all of those great places. It's so cool how technology works these days, how people can do podcasts. from my, my home on my laptop with my Yeti microphone, and it sounds great. And then I can post it, and then people can listen to it and learn. I was just recently in a motor vehicle accident, and I went afterwards to try to get medical cannabis from a doctor. So my last podcast explains sort of what happened with that and how that transpired.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. Actually, so that rolls in perfectly right now. We've talked about, your knowledge of cannabis and your use of cannabis, but we haven't actually talked about whether or not are you like a sort of quote unquote legal patient? Are you a registered patient? So I take it you're not. You're self-medicating.
So initially I was, and I always have been, for recreational purposes and medicinal in the sense of all of the ailments that I have, whether it's complex PTSD, anxiety, all of those things, pain relief. And so I wasn't, so I was using the recreational for medicinal, which I really feel goes hand in hand anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I wasn't having the medical license until recently when I went. So I was on my way back from the Women in Weed conference in Toronto earlier this month, and I was on the highway and I was hit by a transport truck deliberately, and I know he was charged. Yeah, I walked away from it with just some pain, discomfort, and of course some triggered PTSD. So I went to a walk-in clinic and I asked them for cannabis, and to the doctor's credit, he would not prescribe it, and I will say it's to his credit because he was from Ireland, and he said, I'm from a country that it is not legal. I don't know enough about it. I can't prescribe it to you because I can't give you the information. I wouldn't even know what to do. So he sent me to a cannabis clinic in the building, and that's how it came about. I was able to meet with a nurse practitioner, and I was able to
So he didn't feel comfortable prescribing it, but at least he sent you somewhere that could.
Correct.
I will say that he did prescribe me opiates and anti-inflammatories on the other side of it. So he feels comfortable doing that. Right.
Yeah, but like Kim says, the thing is he did refer you to a clinic.
Exactly.
He didn't tell you to get lost.
We've
right. He didn't say, here's your opiates. That's all I can give you.
No.
Right.
Yeah, they're not going to help you at all. Forget about it. I'm not even having the conversation. So at least he took that extra step. So that's a good.
Absolutely. And I actually said to him, I said, how do you feel about it? Like, do you think that you will educate yourself so that you can be able to prescribe it to somebody one day when they do ask? And his response was, there's just not enough information out there. There's not enough in the medical journals. I'm not sure it's worth my time to even know about it. So he's coming from a medical perspective, and he's saying, I don't know. I'm not even sure that it's something that I will ever learn about, which is fine. You know what? That's okay, because there are others that are doing it. There are clinics that are being set up all over the place, and there's doctors that are educating themselves.
But I mean,
and so,
don't you think that they should have to learn about it? I mean,
I would think so. I think one day they will.
Pick and choose what you're, I mean, I don't believe in aspirin, so I'm not even going to learn about it.
Right.
I think that.
He'll need to. I think that one day he'll have to.
Yeah. There should be some generalized, within the medical training, and then also, as well as it branch out to specialty end as a thing.
Yeah.
That way a doctor can't say, well, I've never learned anything. At least they've learned something in the basic training of becoming a doctor.
Yeah, you should.
Because it is medical now. It is something that they're looking at. It is something that with Rick Simpson oil, right? Like, there's just so many things that are being used with the cannabinoid system and our endocannabinoid system. And there's just so much research that has been done and has been proven. And so I think that it is something, by the time our lifetime is over, cannabis will have changed the world. Absolutely, in every aspect of it. So I think that maybe we might see something in 10 or 15 years when these new doctors are coming out, and it might be a requirement of some doctors' colleges that they might be expected to do it. I think they should. I think we should be teaching everybody about it, because we're just at the beginning. Imagine what it's gonna look like in 5 or 10 years from now when more countries become legal.
I have a friend who's learning about cannabis through a college, which is Loyalist College in Belleville, where they actually are certified to do all this through the government. They have a research license and everything. And she's down there getting educated on all kinds of things that we wouldn't even know about. Being, our main thing is on the medical end of things, where she's learning all these different things about the plant, that the DNAs and stuff like that.
Loyalist College. Now, is that the college or is that Queens that went through Legacy there the other day?
They've both been through there. Rowerson's been through there as well.
Yeah.
It's wonderful that there's so many colleges and universities that are creating these courses. I'm about to take the science of cannabis online from McMaster University so I can learn a little bit more of that, the science of it, because it's incredible. This plant is amazing, and I don't know enough about it. And what's wonderful is that these colleges and these universities are saying, hey, there's more people that want to know about it. You can take your CanCell, or you can take your CanCell Expert, which is like the equivalent of the Smart Serve. Those are fantastic courses. I've taken them both. But if I want to learn a little bit more and be a little bit more helpful so that I can help with the research or the people that are doing the research, then I need to dive a little bit more into it. And these schools are helping us be able to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's more to it.
I hope your friend will be able to talk about what she's learning at Loyalist.
Yeah, I hope so too.
If she does, then she'll promote it. She'll educate us, and word of mouth. What we were saying before, grassroots movement, right?
Yeah, that's right. Her brother has recommended I give her a shout to see about being a guest on the program.
I'd listen to that for sure.
Yeah, she's doing very well. Very well. Is what the information that's been given to me on her. So. All right. Where do we want to go to next?
Well, when we started off, we kind of touched on a little bit, and Tracy mentioned that you're vastly deeply into the music industry when you started off in life on your career, and it's kind of evolved from there. I guess the music industry prepared you kind of a little bit for cannabis. They're really connected, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I feel like everything has brought me to this moment, and many people will say that, but I was a radio announcer for many years. I was a publicist for a fitness celebrity. I was an agent and a promoter for world-famous house music DJs, and I've been on tour, and I've been to festivals. I put on massive events in Toronto and other parts of the world, and I think learning that and then changing to childcare and education and now into cannabis, I'm able to use all of the things that I've learned up until now to be able to help people in the best way that I can. I've put on major events, so these little tiny events that I'm putting on right now are kind of a cakewalk a little bit compared to the things that I used to do, and it's a little bit easier, but I'm hoping that Kelly's Green Lounge will eventually get on a larger scale and be able to speak to and help more people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah. And when, like I said, that's back to that grassroots things. When you're speaking to people, it doesn't matter whether you got 500 people in the place. If you're educating some people, that's great.
Yeah. I don't think it matters, and as long as the guests that we have coming, the guests that we bring out, they're from different corporations, whether they're a licensed producer or they are working or they're advocates or activists, anybody that has some experience and some knowledge, whether they're part of a corporation or whether they're just growers in their basement or horticulturalists, those are the people that are going to help build this community. And I was at the Durham College, I think it was the food and beverage unit of the Durham College a couple of weeks ago, listening to another cannabis talk. And they were saying that they're small, but they're building. And I put up my hand and I said, well, I'm in Clarington and there's nobody doing anything out here but me. But that's okay because I gave word of mouth to somebody else, and that gave word of mouth to somebody else, and they're going to build it. And that's what's going to help us be able to connect our different communities. Now you're in Belleville, and you're up north, and you're in different places, and now we're connecting. I'm in Clarington, so that person's going to tell this person, and I think we're going to build it. And I think it's going to be a massive, massive thing.
Awesome. Amazing.
Yes.
So,
yeah, because I know, like, when Magic Kim, when you guys started and all this, there wasn't a lot of stuff going on.
No, I'm originally from Toronto, and, I was there for the very first GMM. I was there for the very first 420 we had at Yonge and Dundas in Toronto all those years ago. From the onset, I've been there and watched the evolution and participated. Then I got married and had some kids, and we moved away to raise our kids, and I kind of faded away and went off into the woodwork for a good dozen years. And when I came back into the light, so to speak, and let it be known to my new community that I had already been living in for all this time, that, yeah, I am a cannabis consumer. I just didn't tell anybody, and this is who I am, and this is who I was in Toronto. I realized there was like absolutely nothing up here. I had spent all that time once a year making the journey to Toronto so I could go to the event anonymously with the, 25,000 other people that were there. And then I would come back home to my northern town where nobody knew where I was, and I would carry on. And it was time for that to stop. And it was time to come out and bring awareness to new communities. And in rural Canada, no matter where you are, that can be a tough go.
Oh, I imagine it could be. What you have done is so incredible. You have thousands of followers, and you help thousands of people with all of your information. And, I mean, you did that with, like you said, you would go back to your rural community where nobody would know you and there was nothing happening there. Take your trips down, bring your information back up, and look how much you've built it up there. And people are helped, and they're saved by you, Kim. What you're doing is incredible, and I'm very, very, very inspired by your plight.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much.
You're doing, pretty much a similar thing there. I mean, this is growing. It's expanding. I'm pretty new to the online scene. I've only been part of social media for half a dozen years. But prior to that, it was all boots on the ground, face to face, going out there, meeting people, doing stuff in cafes and on street corners and in wherever you could to talk to people right face to face and through letter mail, snail mail, and all of that kind of stuff is when we started in all of this. So the evolution of social media has really popped open a lot of doors and expanded this movement, exploded it really to a lot of smaller communities, such as what you're doing.
Right. And now we all feel sort of connected. And I talk to people on Instagram, and I'm not an online person at all. I will definitely say that. In fact, I would much rather not be on my phone than be on my phone. And I do all kinds of breaks from screens, and my son has all kinds of breaks from screens. But there is a need for it. And when I connect with people on Instagram, and they might be in Alberta or they might be in British Columbia, and we can comment on each other's plants or the edibles that we've made or the bath salts that we are making and learn from each other. And that's just that right there. It makes it smaller. It makes it so, like, that's my friend. I know that person. I don't know who they are offline, but they're teaching me how to maybe cultivate my plants or make them bigger or whatever it is that I'm doing. And I know them, and they're in Alberta, and I'm never going to meet them, but they're my friend anyway. And that is incredible, and that makes it smaller. And that right there helps us get rid of the stigma as well. I can't imagine what it would have been like back in the day when you were sending the postal mail or doing all of the, and I wish that I could see it, and I wish that there was like videos of how you did it, because that's just so inspiring.
No,
you
back
worked
then with
harder
video, we
than
had
we have
Super
to
8.
now.
You had to have a Super 8 camera to take video.
I love it. I love it. With the VHS tape, the top load VCRs. Isn't that fantastic? I love that.
Did you? I'm on your Facebook page, your Kelly's Green Lounge page. Did you have a contest or something?
We've a few contests. The most recent contest we had was that was the poll. I did a poll on which stoner movie comedy we should do next, and of course Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke won. But I did another contest of Name the Plant. So we had quite a poll. I think there was like maybe 15 or 16 entries, and the one that won was Aphrodite, and the person that chose that name that had the highest votes, she will receive a prize from the plant when the plant is ready to be given prizes from. They're just in their final stages. I haven't tried them yet.
You're allowed to gift.
You're allowed
you can give. Anything you want, you can gift anything you want. Right. I have a business partner. Her name is Jenny. She works with some of the events with me, and she's such an incredible activist. And what she says, and I hope that everybody will pass this on. Every single person in Ontario is allowed to grow 4 plants in their house. And that doesn't mean that you have to grow 4 plants for you. You can grow 4 plants and give that to somebody else. We are allowed to give away anything. That is the law. So if everybody grew 4 plants, can you imagine what we would have and shared it with each other? How amazing of a community that would be. And maybe there would be a little community here growing plants in their homes that would make Rick Simpson oil. And maybe these guys would make topical cream, and these guys would make CBD. Wouldn't that be an amazing community?
And there are so many patient advocacy groups out there, and, patient groups that are making meds for low-income cancer patients and all this kind of stuff. Donate it there.
Yep, donate it. Make them. Yeah. Grow it. Donate it. And help others.
You can donate 4 plants. You can donate the 4 plants as long as they're not in the bloom. Like you said, you can grow 4 plants per household. So there's, share the wealth that way. There's no limit on the size of your 4 plants.
No, that's right. And then when the end product is done, you can donate the end product. You're allowed to give it away.
Nothing wrong with the 4 couple pounders,
That's it.
Yeah. No, but that's just it. And then there is free medicine for somebody that needs it.
That's right.
Yeah,
right.
then you gift.
I know we're running late, but I want to try and slide this in. I have one last question.
Go ahead.
My list here, and because you're fairly new into this and you come from a different industry, I'm interested to get your take on this. How do you feel the rollout of legalization has gone? What are your thoughts on how the government has handled it, and how has the public received it?
So I think with anything, there's so much gray area and very little black and white. We have our rules, we have our regulations, we have the things that we're expected to go by, but there's so many questions that have been unanswered with different things. And what I think the government's doing, and I don't know. I have my opinion. I will go off my husband's opinion right now, because he will say that he loves that this is happening right now. And he will say he comes from Iceland, where their laws are completely different. He's just new to Canada in this past year. So he's been watching this happen, and he's amazed by it. He said, I didn't know that it would happen this way. And so in his perspective, he believes that they're doing the right thing. Can I say that is the right thing? I don't know. What I think is that the more that it is coming out into the public, the more that the public knows about it, the more that people are aware of it, the better. I think that I'm not too pleased with the fact that there's only 10 legal stores open right now and 25 got the lottery. I don't think that's very cool. I think that there's too many regulations and stipulations. I think that there should be more. I know that there was 1 or 2 that opened in Toronto that didn't have any wheelchair access, and a lot of people that are needing this kind of thing, needing the cannabis for medical purposes, are not able to get in there because they can't get the wheelchairs in. Yeah. We have a lovely, lovely woman in our lounge that follows us, and she was speaking about that the other day. So I think that there are too many gray areas. If you're going to open up a dispensary, there should be a regulation there about being able to access it for people in disabilities, people with wheelchairs. And so there's too many gray areas, in my opinion, but slow is always good. When we learn, and we can learn from our mistakes. So maybe they're not willing to make the big mistakes right away. So they're going inch by inch and little by little. And okay, that's fine. And I think the people that will benefit from it the most are the elderly and the ones that fear and have the stigma around the cannabis, that are fearing the use of it. So they're listening to the government, and they're listening to it come out slowly, and they're saying, okay, well, we're going to follow these rules, and we're going to see what happens. I will say I do love the fact that it is not being promoted to children, all of the rules around that it's not going to be able to be smoked or consumed anywhere in the area of children or advertised to, and I appreciate that above all.
Okay, interesting. A lot of good points that you've made there. I got to say, it's been interesting. It's been really great getting to know you. I think I've got a new group that I'm going to be following now. And welcome to the community. You're providing a much needed service, and I look forward to watching you grow.
Thank you, Kim.
Hey, Kelly, I see in your logo you talking about hippie girl all night long. Yeah, that's what you got on your logo. Is a hippie girl. I see
that's me.
I see the peace sign and the bandana and the I don't know if it's a ring around the hat or something around your head.
Yeah,
flower
and
bee.
I love
Flower
the
bee.
bell bottoms. Gotta have the
Yes.
bell bottoms. I can relate.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Kelly.
Are we late? Can I just mention one event that we have coming up this summer?
Sure.
Yeah.
We're doing an infused farm to table. Yeah.
What was that
So
again?
I'm not sure if you've heard of Travis, the Nomad Cook out of BC. He's incredible. He has made these tinctures from the Nomad Cook. He's the guy that's doing all the high-end infused dinners out on the West Coast and also in Toronto. So we have his tinctures, and we're doing the only farm-to-table infused event experience in the Clarington area. It's on a beautiful piece of property with an in-ground pool, and there's live entertainment, and we dose per tolerance. So you have to answer a questionnaire and talk about your experience with cannabis, and we dose per tolerance. So we don't want anybody greening out, but we want everybody to have a good time. That's happening in July, and there's only 30 tickets to be sold. We've almost got rid of all of our early bird tickets already, and you can find more information about that at Kelly's Green Lounge on Facebook and on Instagram.
And actually, it's on July the 20th, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you want to come?
That's my birthday. That's my birthday.
Yeah. Birthday party for Al.
Birthday party
We'll
for
have
Al.
balloons.
Just so you know, we included that in the posting of the show, the announcement. That was
Thanks,
one of the
Al.
pictures. I went. All right, wow, hey, that's my birthday. That's an event going on.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you should come.
GoFundMe account.
That'd be amazing. Come on.
Okay, shout out time. Kelly, have you got?
That was my shout out. That was my shout out, Al.
Okay, all right, good.
Thank you both so much for having me.
You're welcome. Kim, have you got a shout out?
Yeah, tonight I'm going to give a shout out to one of my sponsors, I guess, since I'm not ready for this and I'm caught off guard because I never thought of it. And I don't know why, because this is a regular thing. No, I'm not busy with 420. No, not at all. So I'm going to give my shout out to Dana Larson. Dana Larson has been a great sponsor for my Northern events. I thank him very much for everything that he's done for this year's 420 by donating from several of his enterprises, including Pothead Books. I've received several of his comics, as well as a few of his parody books from Dr. Seuss and Harry Potter parodies. Look him up on potheadbooks.ca or .com. And he also donated from Overgrow Canada campaign, so we'll have seeds to give away for the Overgrow Canada campaign, as well as from MJ Creams. So we have sample sizes of MJ Creams, infused creams from Dana Larson Group of Companies. So thank you very much, Dana, once again from 420 Timmins.
All righty. Before we go, Kim, next week you're sitting in this chair next week.
I am.
That's right. You and Julie and her special guests will be on the show. I am taking the night off. I am going to celebrate my 34th wedding anniversary with my wife. So I will be missing out on the show, but I'm sure I will hear it afterwards, and I know that you'll do a good job.
Oh, I'll be Al. Next week, just call me Al.
Just call me Al. Is there a song? Just call me Al.
Just call me Al.
Okay.
I hope I don't butcher it too badly, but what the hell? I'll do my best.
You filled in once before. You got one show experience in the past.
Yeah. We'll be all right. We'll muddle through.
You will. Okay. You can find Pace on Twitter at Pace Radio. You can also like us on Facebook. We're also on the web at pace-online.ca. And you can also find us on Instagram. Thank yous, as always, go to our sponsors, the friendly and helpful folks at Legacy 420. They're Canada's largest First Nation cannabis dispensary. They're found at legacy420.com. Also, thanks to our producer, Al Rapp of 420 Radio. Big thank you to Tracy Lamourie of Lamourie Public Relations, who was on earlier, as well as to you, Kelly. Thank you for coming on the show and talking to our listeners.
Yeah, thank you both for having me. It's been such a pleasure. You're both so wonderful, and what you're doing is incredible for the cannabis community.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the kind words. As always, Kim, thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Al, for having me on. You inviting me on the show has really helped me out enormously on a personal level, and I'm very happy to be here.
Hey, well, thank you very much. Thank you for those kind words. And I want to thank our listeners, too. We always appreciate our listeners tuning into the program and sharing our stories. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Legacy 420 has medicinal and recreational products down to a science, literally. With 2 biochemists on staff and a chief scientific advisor, every product is tested in the Legacy 420 laboratory. Legacy 420, Tyendinaga. Open 9 to 9 every day. Visit legacy420.com.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.